Authorities in Mexico say the deaths of 4 men in the resort city of Cancun were probably linked to gang rivalries.
2 suspects have been arrested, but they are still searching for the gang leader that they believe is behind the killings. The 4 men's bodies were found Monday in the city's hotel zone near the beach.
CBS News contributor Enrique Acevedo joins us now from Mexico City. Viewers will also recognize him as an anchor for NA Mas. Enrique, this is just the latest in what's been a series of recent violent episodes in Mexico. Recently, 4 Americans were kidnapped, 2 of them killed in the northern part of the country by alleged members of a powerful cartel. So for anyone who's planning a trip to Cancun, which is a very common place to go, how concerned should they be by this development?
For the most part, Errol, planning a trip to Mexico, visiting Mexico is safe. Violence seems to be concentrated in a few places. That's certainly, growing compared to what we've seen in the past. But for the most part, it's safe to visit Mexico. And we see it in the numbers. In 2022, around 23 million Americans traveled by plane to Mexico. That's a record number, despite the fact that the State Department has issued travel warnings or travel advisories for 30 of the 32 states in Mexico. It is concerning that we see things like what happened in Cancun this week. Rival gangs or drug trafficking organizations, trying to take control of basically what is a consumer market, not so much a distribution hub, and doing so by letting violence spill over a town where traditionally you wouldn't see this type of thing.
Enrique, it's a good message that this is something that's happening, but it doesn't mean that it's going to happen to tourists. But that isn't necessarily how people planning their vacations might think. Has there been an impact on local tourism?
Like I was saying, Mexico has seen a record increase, a record number of people arriving in the country, not just visiting Mexico, Lana, but also deciding to stay here and live here. We've seen that in Mexico City, where things like these are extremely rare. I'm not saying that they haven't happened or they would never happen. Mexico lives in a generalized context of violence. We've seen hundreds of thousands of people killed over the last 2 decades, mainly because of the violence related to drug trafficking. That's in part fueled by weapons coming across the U.S. into Mexico, and drug consumption in both countries. But again, I think this hasn't had the kind of impact we would think on people deciding to visit Mexico and even moving to Mexico permanent.
And ironically, I mean, these cartels don't want to diminish tourism to the country because they understand the benefit it provides for what they are conducting, despite them being illicit activities. We know that last night, federal authorities announced they're sending additional military now to reinforce security in Cancun and other popular spots. In your view, is that an indication that they anticipate an uptick in violence, or is it more positioning for foreigners to say, look, you can keep coming safely to the country?
I think it's both. We now see around 13,000 members of the military, of the Mexican military, in the state of Quintana Roo. That's where Cancun is. The same for other popular tourist destinations across the country. I think that the government wants to send a message that they're trying to get this under control. But it's certainly a growing concern, Errol. I think Mexican authorities have proven unable to stop this increase in violence. And we've seen more and more episodes of this spilling over to not just communities where this hasn't happened in the past, but also targeting people who have at some level being privileged enough not to experience what millions of Mexicans do every day, and having a U.S. passport would guard you from that in the past. Unfortunately, it seems that that's not the case anymore.
All right. Enrique Acevedo, thank you.
Thank you so much.